Introduction and Navigation. Welcome to the Kronos video manual. In 2011, Korg introduced the most powerful music workstation ever made, the Kronos. Nothing else had so much creative and performance power in one musical instrument. This new Kronos takes that further, adding even more intuitive features and incredible sounds. In this hour-long video, we'll cover the main functions of your Kronos. There's a lot to cover, so each exercise will be brief, but it should be enough to get you started. For more detailed information, the PDF manuals on the accessory disc that came with your Kronos can help you dig deeper. As well, the onboard help system offers immediate assistance with whatever you're doing on the Kronos. Pressing this help button instantly accesses the English versions of all the manuals. For example, to access information about the current page you're on, just press and release the help button. For more information on any front panel button, knob, slider, etc., just hold down the help and press the button or move the controller in question. We recommend that you follow this video all the way through the first time, pausing when necessary. Then later, go back to specific chapters. Also, the programs and combinations in my Kronos may be different than yours. This won't affect the video. Okay, let's get started. The Kronos has 7 modes. Program mode, where you access individual sounds like pianos, organs, synth leads, etc. Combination mode, where up to 16 sounds can be combined together like splits, layers, and more. Sequencer mode, for MIDI and audio recording. Set list, for accessing programs, combinations, and songs all in one place. Sampling mode, for creating your own samples. Disk mode, for saving and loading data. And global mode, for adjusting parameters that affect the instrument as a whole, for example, the calibration of the screen. In fact, that's a good place to start. You calibrate the screen by touching here to pull down the page menu, like a drop-down menu on a computer. Touch panel calibration. For best results, calibrate using a stylus or fingernail and press the exact centers of the calibration boxes. Touch here, here, then done. By the way, you can access any of the first 10 page menu items by holding down Enter and using the numeric keypad. Pressing 3 accesses touch panel calibration. One of the main features of the Kronos is the Touch View user interface. I'm going to use combination mode to show you a few things, but the other modes work basically the same way. This is the top page of the main page group. In this case, play. These tabs take you to other pages within this page group. These tabs along the bottom take you to other page groups, again with tabs to pages within that group. The exit button is very useful. Press it once to go to the previous selected tab on the main page. Press it again to go to the first tab on the main page. Pressing it a third time selects the main parameter on the first page, in this case, the name of the combination. This pop-up button opens a list of items to select. If there's a safety pin icon, then when an item is selected, the window closes. If you touch this safety pin icon, the window is locked open until you press it again. When you touch a parameter, the parameter or its value will usually be highlighted. This is called the Edit cell. The cell can be edited in a few different ways. Using the value controllers, the numeric keypad, or by touching and dragging on the screen up and down, and in some cases left and right as well. Sliders and knobs can be adjusted in this same way, including using the numeric keypad and value controllers. You will also occasionally find checkboxes. Simply touch the box to select and touch again to deselect. These category pop-up boxes allow you to select programs and combinations by category. We'll look at this in the Program Combination Set List chapter. You will occasionally come across dialog boxes. For example, when I choose to write this combination, this appears. Touching the T takes me to where I can use the screen to type in the name I want for the combination. Touching OK confirms the text. Touching OK would save the combination. Touching Cancel or the Exit button cancels the write operation. To the left of the screen is the Kronos control surface. These control assign buttons select what the control surface will be controlling. For example, when I select timbre track, these 8 sliders are adjusting the levels of the first 8 sounds, or timbres as they are called, of this combination. Press timbre track again, and I'm adjusting the volumes of timbres 9 through 16. Now I have control of whatever is plugged into the audio inputs on the back of the Kronos. The Control Surface tab displays what each slider, switch, and knob is assigned to control. External lets you assign MIDI CCs to control other devices. Now the knobs are doing real-time control of the sounds, and the switches and sliders are controlling Karma. Control assign and control surface adjustments can be done from the screen as well. Tone Adjust controls individual parameters of sounds, as well as the setlist EQ. We'll look at each of these in their respective chapters. This Kronos is set to shut off if there is no activity for a certain period of time. For example, touching the display or front panel controls, playing sound, sending or receiving MIDI, etc. The settings are in Global, Page Menu, Auto Power Off setting. Before we move on to the next chapter, I'm going to turn the Kronos off and on. Wait about 10 seconds before turning it back on. Starting up the Kronos takes approximately a minute and a half. Just like starting up a computer. This is normal. It's booting up the operating system and loading in the necessary files, including gigabytes of samples. Program, combination, and setlist. Programs are accessed in program mode. There are more than 2,000 sound programs, and they can be selected in a few different ways. The ink deck buttons, the dial, or the numeric keypad, for example. The Kronos has an ability that no other keyboard has. You can change from one sound to another, and the previous sound, including any delay or reverb effects, doesn't suddenly stop. It continues. It's called Smooth Sound Transitions, or SST. Keyboardists have been requesting this for years. And what makes Kronos unique is that you can do this with programs, combinations, songs, and setlist entries, and you don't have to be in any special mode to do it. And you don't need to reserve half your sounds and effects. It just works. The programs are grouped in banks of 128 that can be selected using these dedicated bank buttons for internal A through G and user A through G. 7 more banks can be accessed by pressing top and bottom buttons simultaneously to access user AA through GG banks. You can also use the screen to select banks and programs. Touch the pop-up button to the left of the program name. The tabs on the left select the banks. Touch here to access the AA through GG banks, then here to go back. You simply touch the program you want. The scroll bar on the bottom allows access to more programs. Touching Cancel or pressing the Exit button would return you to the previous program. Touching OK will bring you to the main screen of the selected program. The programs are organized in categories. Touch here. There are 16 categories and 2 user categories. It makes it easy to find a sound in the instrument family you need, for example, keyboards, organs, guitars, etc. The categories can be selected with the tabs on the left. There are subcategories as well. Then, as we did before, just touch the sound you want and then OK. This magnifying glass button brings up the Find dialog. You can use Find to search for programs by name. Type in all or part of the name, for example, Wave. Press Find. Use the Next and Previous buttons to step through the programs with Wave in the name. You can also use the Ink and Deck buttons. To exit without selecting a program, touch Cancel or press Exit. When you find the program you want, press OK. This Find feature is available for finding combinations, set lists, wave sequences, and many other Kronos resources, anywhere this magnifying glass icon appears. One of the reasons the Kronos is so powerful is that it has 9 sound engines. Sound engines are the technologies used to create a sound. Typically, a keyboard uses one sound engine, usually sample playback technology, to create sounds. The Kronos is much more powerful. Let's take a quick look at the 9 sound engines to understand how they work. Of course, the beauty of the Kronos is you can simply select a sound and play it. Everything is done behind the scenes for you. But understanding each sound engine may help you when deciding what sound to use for a particular musical application. This program uses the SGX2 sound engine. The name of the sound engine is here under the program name. It's designed solely to create piano sounds. Because the Kronos uses Korg's virtual memory technology, it can access gigabytes of sample memory in real time from the internal solid-state drive. This lets us sample every note at up to 12 velocities with no looping. The SGX2 responds like a real piano, from adjusting the piano lid to true string resonance. There are 3 fully sampled pianos, a German D piano, a Japanese C piano, and a Berlin D piano. The Berlin D piano also includes dedicated una corda samples for even greater realism. This uses the EP1 sound engine, designed to create electric piano sounds using MDS, multi-dimensional synthesis. After the electric piano is sampled, MDS is able to separate the mechanical noises from the true tonal harmonics, giving separate control over the two. The tonal harmonics are analyzed and put back together in 2 dimensions, velocity and decay. This makes the velocity and decay of the EP1's Tyne and Reed electric pianos seamless, with no sample looping. Unlike typical samples, MDS allows complete real-time control of the electric piano sound. The EP1 has modeled amp and pedal effects inside the sound engine, separate of the Kronos effects section. In this example, the intensity of the pedal effect is adjusted using the control surface. It's already set to RT knobs, short for real time. Knob 7 controls the intensity. Other pedal effects can be selected here. This organ program uses the CX3 sound engine, a modeled tone wheel organ. Notice that the control surface is already set to tone adjust for full drawbar control. Touching here displays the drawbars. A rotary speaker effect is right inside of the CX3 sound engine, separate of the Kronos effects section. Flicking the joystick forward changes the speed. No need to hold it. It acts like a switch. There are 3 Kronos sound engines designed for analog synthesis: the MS-20EX, the Poly6EX, and the AL1. The MS-20EX recreates the unique oscillators, filters, and interface of the legendary Korg MS-20 from 1978, plus many new synthesis features. You can move knobs directly on the screen. And connect cables by touching and dragging. In 1981, Korg released the popular Poly 6, recreated here with the Poly 6 EX. You can move knobs directly on the screen as before, and with the control surface set to tone adjust, you have simultaneous hands-on access to every knob and switch. This next analog synthesis sound engine, the AL1, was designed from the ground up to create what an analog synthesizer can be today. Remember, these analog synths use modeling, not sampling, giving you incredible flexibility. In fact, there are 3 ways to adjust any program. You can go deep into the individual parameters of the sound engines, a sound designer's paradise. By the way, every program has this overview on the top page, showing basic information about the sound engine's settings. For example, here we can see the filter configuration. Touch the graphics to jump directly to that page group. Another way to edit the sound is to use Tone Adjust on the control surface. Each slider, switch, and knob of the control surface can be assigned a parameter. The third way to change sounds is the easiest. Set the control surface to RT knobs, and use the 8 knobs along the top. Knobs 1 through 4 are preset to filter cutoff, filter resonance, envelope generator intensity, and envelope release time. The 4 most common parameters players want to adjust quickly. Knobs 5 through 8 are flexible. They've been assigned to sound-specific functions by Korg's team of programmers, and you can also reassign them as you wish. You'll find that knob 8 usually controls the amount of reverb or delay effect. Knob 7 usually controls the amount of a modulation effect, such as a chorus or flanger. Knobs 5 and 6 will be different for each program depending on what the programmer thought was important to the sound. Since multiple parameters can be adjusted simultaneously with a controller, a simple turn of a knob can completely change the shape of the filter envelope while adjusting the intensity of an LFO that's controlling panning, plus add an additional insert effect. Anything is possible. Be sure to experiment with the real-time knobs when playing any program. This next sound engine uses a completely different technology, physical modeling. The STR1 plucked string synth